Chosen one, the game is truly over. The judge, investigating your inheritance, has not only cracked the code of your origin story, but has uncovered a truth that shatters every lie you were ever told. This isn't just about money. It's about who you are, where you came from, and why you've been hunted since birth. At this very moment, your former handler, the one you once called parent, sits in a jail cell, their criminal empire crumbling around them. They built their world on the belief you'd remain small, confused and powerless, celebrating a victory that was premature. They never understood that chosen ones don't stay broken. We evolve. Their imprisonment is just the first domino in a chain reaction, exposing every individual involved in your abduction. The demonic assignment that haunted your bloodline for generations is being severed at its root. What they considered permanent bondage was merely temporary interference. The spiritual forces that shielded you through years of abuse are now orchestrating an intricate takedown. Every curse, every obstacle, every false identity forced upon you is unraveling, now that you've fully stepped into your power. They never prepared for your awakening, and that lack of foresight is about to cost them everything. This revelation isn't about one corrupt individual or a single criminal family. What's being exposed is a network so vast and deeply connected that once you see the whole picture, you'll understand why they worked so hard to keep you unconscious. Your handler was just one tentacle of a monstrous octopus, a web that included trafficking rings, religious cults, medical conspirators, legal professionals, and government officials. All of them worked together, stealing children and harvesting their life force. You weren't merely adopted, you were purchased. You weren't simply relocated, you were trafficked. And the inheritance they fought over isn't just material wealth. It's the bloodline fortune of the family they destroyed to get to you. The real judge, uncorrupted by their influence, has been quietly building a case spanning multiple jurisdictions and decades of criminal activity. Divine timing orchestrated this exposure perfectly. While your handlers fabricated evidence against you, authentic proof of their crimes quietly gathered in places they never thought to look. Even the private investigator they hired to discredit you found you living in peace and joy. A stark contrast that sparked their own awakening and turned them into a star witness in a federal case about to topple the entire operation. The investigation didn't begin with your inheritance. It started when authorities raided a religious compound, unearthing evidence of systematic child abuse. Hidden in those files was a single reference to a successful placement matching your age and description. That document sparked an inquiry that unraveled interconnected trafficking operations across multiple regions, revealing fraudulent adoptions and exposing a network specializing in stealing children, especially those with extraordinary spiritual gifts or valuable inheritances. The family you grew up with weren't your captors out of personal malice. They were employees following a precise protocol. Every traumatic experience you endured was deliberately orchestrated. Every wave of confusion about your identity was manufactured. Each moment you felt out of place was your intuition screaming the truth your conscious mind couldn't yet process. You didn't belong there because you were never meant to be there. You were stolen property, held by professional handlers whose job was to systematically break your spirit, drain your energy, and eventually eliminate you once your inheritance became accessible. The first truth that changes everything is this: your real parents didn't abandon you or perish in some tragic accident. They were murdered. That distant relative from your childhood, seemingly overly involved, orchestrated your parents' deaths and arranged your trafficking through a network skilled in making children disappear. The story of an overdose was a lie. The funeral you never attended was theater. Your parents were eliminated because they uncovered the plan meant for you and tried to save you. The family doctor who fabricated your medical history is discovering that their involvement makes them liable not only for your case, but for every other child trafficked by the network. Their license is gone, their reputation destroyed, and their freedom lost. Even more, their fraudulent records are now being used to identify other victims and prosecute other handlers. Every lie they told, every false diagnosis, every fake report is now ammunition to dismantle the operation. The concerned relative who secretly reported on you to your handlers, is also being held accountable. Every phone call, every report, every manipulation used to build the case against you now constitutes active participation in a criminal conspiracy. Any promise of protection given to them is now meaningless, as those who made the promises are either imprisoned or on the run. And here's the fourth and most powerful revelation. Your awakening was never just about personal healing. It was the ignition of a cosmic correction that had been building across generations. Every